Today I'd like to direct some questions to the Peregrine incident. And how many years was wrongdoing occurring there based on information you have?
I'm sorry, this is Peregrine?
Yes.
We're still trying to develop the facts. His note that he left when he attempted to take his life said that it had been for quite some time, maybe up to 20 years, but we do not have independently verifiable data to say that. In some cases, banks and others only have records for 7 years, so it may well be that we won't know the answer to that with certainty. But his note says maybe up to 20 years.
And during those 20 years, how many times was that company audited or reviewed by your entity?
It would have been audited by outside folks every year, and the NFA every 9 to 15 months. The CFTC, as I laid out in the written testimony, conducted a number of limited scope reviews in the 90s that led to an enforcement action in 2000 where Peregrine had to bring others in, Price Waterhouse. We also, in 2007 and I think 2008, did some limited scope reviews on matters that are outlined, and then one more in 2010 on anti-money laundering. These limited scope reviews are not audits in the full sense of the word, but we look at papers and specific issues that have come to our attention.
Did you ever call the bank to verify the account balances that apparently this CEO was falsifying and submitting to your reviews?
Though I'm not aware of all the details in all of these reports over the years that CFTC might have done, the first line auditors would have been the CPAs and the National Futures Association, but I'm not aware of any calls to the bank, or U.S. Bank or Harris Bank or the other banks, but it may have occurred.
And you mentioned PricewaterhouseCoopers. Certainly they would have verified the account balances, would they have not? I mean, you directed them as part of a fine to find some outside help for this issue.
Under the rules of the CFTC, written enforceable rules, the yearly CPA has to use generally accepted auditing standards. And as I understand it, those auditing standards do require what you just said about the confirmations of assets, custodial arrangements in banks.
So if it was 20 years, if the suicide note was apparently the basis for your charges and had been occurring for 20 years, then this outside entity that based in 2000 actually should have looked at those records as well?
Again, there's a lot of facts we're going to learn, but I think that you're correct, sir, that outside auditors and even in the audit routines of the National Futures Association is to confirm key balances.
On January 25th, Mr. Chairman, you have a press release still on your website. CFTC releases results of limited reviews of futures commission merchants. That review did include this firm in question?
Yes, it was reviewed by the NFA as part of that limited scope review.
And what was the role of the commission in the review?
We looked at the top, I want to say, 10 or 12 largest futures commission merchants, and then the Chicago Mercantile Exchange took the next group, and then the NFA took their direct regulated entities.
So the CFTC didn't review the entity in question here? It was
no. The last time we did a limited scope review was on anti-money laundering, was maybe a year and a half ago at Peregrine.
Obviously, Mr. Chairman, with the $1.6 billion lost through MF Global and the uncertainty out there, why would you put anything out to the public assuring them that, and this was meant as insurance to the marketplace, and that's how it was treated, if you hadn't done the work, and again we're relying on outside groups to determine the effectiveness of your regulatory system?
Sir, I'll even go further. This was an attempt to deceive the regulators and the public for what may have been many years. The deception would have continued all the way until July of this year, throughout this period of late last year. And I believe that we need to do more and we need to do better. But this was an outright fraud, forged bank statements, forged, so even this would have occurred in November or December when the NFA took their limited review at that point.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just find it troubling that we'd put this type of insurance out, screwed up on MF Global, screwed up on this entity, and then here we are telling the marketplace in January and find out later at the various time this assurance was given that we had these problems still out there. I have customers that lost constituents lost funds in both entities through a massive failure. And so I appreciate the answers, though, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to your further research.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes